Taylor Swift is making headlines once again as her re-recorded version of the Fearless album debuts at #1 on the Billboard charts. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We are so excited to talk about this amazing Taylor Swift news, but before we get started, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host Fiona and I'm joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. Mariah, this is so fun. I know we're both Swifties. Let's just get right into it. Back in 2008, which is 100 years ago at this point, Taylor's second studio album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 track, and now 12 years later, she is back in the #1 spot with her version of the album, which includes, of course, all of those old hits we know and love, and 6 never before released tracks. I don't know about you, Mariah, but I would have absolutely loved those 6 songs back in 2008. Were you excited when we learned that she was coming out with her version and, of course, these new songs for the album?
I must have been sleeping under a rock for forever because I didn't know she was recreating this album. Fearless is my favorite T Swift album, mind you. So, yes, I was very excited. I saw like all my friends were posting the album cover and they were like listening to the songs and they were like, not me crying right now. And I'm like, well, I really need to tune into this because apparently I've been sleeping under a rock. Love the new album. Again, that was my favorite one. So I was a diehard Swiftie back in 2008, and I maybe have fallen off a little bit, but I think it's because she's kind of changed her music a little bit over the years, as artists do, which is totally fine and in their right. But I love it because it takes me back. So it makes me feel like, 2008 Mariah again, just enjoying some T Swift.
Yes. Oh my gosh. No, I'm so with you. It truly is so nostalgic. And I'm curious your take on these 6 new songs because I feel like, honestly, I would have died for them back in 2008, right? I mean, obviously, it was already quite a long album. When you add these 6 songs on, this would have been too much, right? For your second album ever as an artist. I totally get why some songs had to get the cut. But I
Mhm.
feel like when you listen to these new songs, it almost has the same feeling of nostalgia attached because it just feels and sounds like the old Taylor.
Exactly. I feel like it would have overwhelmed us back in the day, but I still would have added it to my drive to school playlist and drive back from school playlist. So I'm still working on the album. I recently had a road trip and I was like, this is where I'm going to dive into the new Fearless album. Like, I'm going to relive all of those glory days. I'm going to belt it out at the top of my lungs. And I got through all of the right and true ones that I'm already familiar with. So I have yet to dive into the new 6 songs. I think because I don't know, I just want to stretch it out. I want them to be like new forever. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that's why there's so much hype. Why people are receiving it so well is because it's like we're getting the old Taylor again, that like young teenage country star. So I think that's why it's so exciting for people.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing that I feel like I've seen a lot of people say is like back in the day, a lot of us listening to it were a lot younger than we are right now. So these
Mhm.
like storylines she's creating, these concepts, these emotions, like even though we kind of thought of them differently in 2008, now that there have been breakups, right? Been more life
Yeah.
experience, these like narratives she created really hold up and people can enjoy listening to them truly at any age. Not only is it amazing, of course, that she was able to release her own version of the Fearless album now, it's also so amazing that it's already made history. It is the only re recorded album ever to reach that #1 spot on the charts. Obviously, I mean, I feel like people are so excited to see her take control of the music, and it's so exciting to hear the songs that we loved back in the day come back to life. Fans everywhere are just so happy right now. Taylor reacted to the album's success by thanking her fans on Twitter, and you guys, just when we think Taylor may be done, that it doesn't get any better than a re released album, she announces that she's currently in the studio working on the next re recording. She tweeted, been in the studio all day recording the next one. It's really so amazing what you all have done here. So, to answer that question of how long is it going to be before we get more new old music, doesn't seem like it's going to be that long. Fearless was honestly one of my all-time fave Taylor albums. I also really loved Red. Love to see a remake of that. I mean, Mariah, what are you hoping that she does next? What are you looking forward to the most?
I am hoping she does Red. That was also one of my favorite ones. My senior year, I created our senior lady shirts, and I had Taylor Swift quotes all on the t-shirts because at the time it was just that's what you did. You quoted T Swift. And what song was it? I think it was I don't remember. I don't remember. It was a Red song though. It was from the Red album. And my best friend and I would belt that song because Fearless came first. And so that was kind of like the younger Mariah. We loved that. We were there for it. And then Red came, and I had a couple more heartbreaks since the Fearless album. So I really resonated with the Red album a little bit more. So I completely agree. That's definitely one I'm hoping she is working on recreating right now.
And the big question now is obviously we got those 6 new songs with the recreation of the Fearless album. Will we get more songs from the vault on these following recreations? I feel like that seems kind of inevitable and is very exciting.
Yes, especially like I said, at the time I had really resonated with those songs on the Red album because I felt like they made more sense for the older teenage girl I had become. But I'm hoping that we're going to get some songs also that like maybe they were just didn't want to overwhelm us with all of these bangers on the Red album, and now we'll be able to like add it in and we can enjoy them. So I'm ready for some new songs to just belt out at the top of my lungs in the car while at a red light and people are looking over, like investigating what I've got going on. So hoping that there will be some never before released songs on the Red album as well, or really any album she's recreating for that matter.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. And I think that red light moment for you is definitely going to happen because we know she's so
Mhm.
creative. We know she's really like enjoying this process, getting to like bring some things back to life, getting to create some things, like actually make them happen that never really got to see the light of day. So I think you're definitely going to get some more red songs, some more all of the album songs in the future. Taylor opened up with people about the recreation process and how she really did want to stay true to the 2008 original. This is for Fearless, obviously. She stated, in terms of production, I really wanted to stay very loyal to the initial melodies that I had thought of for these songs. And so we really did go in and try to create the same but better version. We kept all the same parts that I initially dreamed up for these songs, but if there was any way we could improve upon the sonic quality, we did. She also added, we kind of took all the knowledge that we've acquired over decades of playing music and applied that to it. If I can improve upon it, I did. But I really did want this to be very true to what I initially thought of and what I initially had written, but better. So it's really interesting to hear her sort of thought process there because some artists would have come in and said, okay, made this in 2008, it's 2021, let's revamp it, let's take the lyrics, let's change the melody, let's give someone completely something new. But these albums, I think, were really personal, right? They were really special chapters, moments of her lives. And I think it's really cool that she kept it true to itself while recreating these iconic moments.
Yes, it was really interesting. I remember when I first had listened to, I don't remember what the first song on the recreated album was that I listened to, but I think I had expected it to sound totally different, like the melodies to be a little bit different. Obviously, I figured it would be the same lyrics, but I thought it would just have a totally different sound. And it really does sound very similar. Obviously, you can tell her voice sounds a little bit more matured as the years have gone by. It's been 12 years since that album. And there are some subtle changes, but it's nothing drastic, which I think a lot of people really enjoy because a lot of people don't like drastic change. When they like something, they don't want it to be completely recreated. They want to be able to enjoy it as is. So I think it would have been okay either way, honestly. I'm glad with how it is now, but I would have been okay also if she kind of changed the melody. But it's interesting to hear what her creative process was. I think also a big part of this recreation was just kind of taking the power back from not owning the rights to her own music. So it's just exciting to see that she's able to do that, and we get to kind of join in on the process and get to kind of revisit songs maybe we haven't heard in forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's such a great point. Obviously, like fans are so happy, Taylor is so happy to be sort of living these moments again. But this all stemmed from a really difficult, complicated, messy legal battle. I will literally never forget where I was when she put that, I believe it was a Tumblr note initially, but the first version of like all of the details of what was going on, the action she was trying to take. And then, if we think back, it just kind of got uglier and uglier from there, more complicated, more messy. It's been a long process to get here, but I think this is such a great example of, she has a challenge in front of her, right? She wants to be able to take ownership of this music that means so much to her. And this was the best way she could do that. And so she said, all right, we're going to problem solve. We're going to get this done. I think it serves as a really great example too for a lot of other artists who are young and coming up. I mean, the initial deals you sign, the way you sign away certain rights to certain things just to get some music made. This has been really an educational process. And I do think that the landscape of the music industry is starting to change. We're seeing more people like become famous of something they recorded on their own on TikTok. That explodes, and you have a different type of ownership there. So anyways, you could go on a whole tangent of the legal scenarios of all of this, but I think it's a really just powerful move that she's made to take a really, at the end of the day, crappy, complicated situation and turn it into something beautiful for herself and for her fans. And I mean, listen, it's so easy to look at someone like Taylor Swift and be like, okay, everything is perfect in her life. She has everything she could possibly ever want. Everything is amazing when you're that famous. But it's so true that everyone faces obstacles, at every stage of your life. No one's ever going to have everything perfect. So I'm just happy to see her taking this obstacle, totally overcoming it and creating something beautiful out of it at the end of the day.
Yes, and back to what you said about kind of setting an example. She totally has. I mean, I'm sure that is I mean, we've seen it before. We saw it with Kesha. We've seen it with other artists in the music industry who have created music, and they've really struggled with not having any rights to that, not feeling like they have any freedom as an artist. And I feel like that sets an example moving forward for the music industry. People entering it, know what you're really getting yourself into. Yes, these record labels, these producers, these people can offer you a beautiful, glamorous life full of successes beyond your wildest dreams, but it all comes at a cost. And I think she has set the example of what to kind of look out for, but also it's a success story, right? We've seen her go through these trials and tribulations, and now it's like it's all working in her favor. Not only is she producing this music and she's going to have the rights to it, but it's also kind of revamping her. It's like people who have kind of fallen off the Taylor Swift wagon, they're back on board. Like, I will admit, I kind of fell off the Taylor Swift wagon because, again, her music kind of changed. And I think I just stopped resonating with it so much. She had, a bop come on every now and then on the radio, and I would really get into it. But now it's kind of put her back on the map. Remember Taylor Swift? She had all of these amazing songs, and she's continuing to produce these stellar, iconic songs for us. So she's definitely set the example. And it's just exciting to see her kind of step back into her power and creatively as an artist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's someone who we've kind of grown up with. She's one of those stars where a lot of her fans have grown with her over the years. And I think that to see her, still feel so passionate about these initial albums, these initial chapters of her life that really made her what she is today. And to just fight this hard to make them something that she can look at and feel like she is happy, right? She can now look back at these albums and feel nothing but pride and happiness. And like they're basically like diary entries, right? I mean, she's been so open and vulnerable about how personal some of this music is. So to have it back under her control, back somewhere where she feels like, okay, this is safe. This is my music, my narrative, and I'm in control of it, just is so wonderful to see. But you guys, honestly, there is so much more exciting Taylor news to come. She has been probably one of the most productive celebrities in this life at home quarantine land. So I'm just excited to see what she does next. On that note, we of course want to know if you are loving Fearless Taylor's version and what albums do you hope she is working on next? Let us know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I am your host, Fiona Zaring, is joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. If you want to come say hi, our social handles are on the screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.